what's up? It's been so long since I've done a video, but today I'm back to do a video on my eyebrows. I get asked on my eyebrows so much, and it's insane. I get asked by random strangers all the time about my eyebrows. So next time somebody asks me, I'll link them to this video. There's two ways I like to do it. There's one way which I take a little bit longer time to do them, and then there's a second way which I do when I have to rush. And I figured this way out only because I was rushing like crazy and I forgot my eyebrow brush, so all I had was a fluffy brush, and that's how I do my eyebrows. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the products that I use before we get started into the tutorial. So the pomade that I use is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. I have two colors right here. I have chocolate, which is a little bit it's like a more of an ashy brown, dark brown. And then I have auburn, which is more, as you can see, is a little bit more, has a little bit more red tones in it. And of course, the main thing that you'll need is an eyebrow brush. Now I have two brushes right here to share with you guys. One is a really cheap e.l.f. Like fluffy brush, and one is an Anastasia eyebrow brush. So I'm going to go into more detail about that once we get into the tutorial, but you obviously need an eyebrow brush. And of course you always want to set your eyebrows, and I feel like if you have somewhat of oily skin, or like if you're gonna sweat, girl, you need to set your brows, okay? So the eyeshadow color that I use is Happy Hour by NYX. You just really need any brown eyeshadow. It doesn't even need to be this color, and any eyeshadow that matches your eyebrow color. And then finally, the last thing you'll need is concealer. You can just use any concealer you want. I just use whatever concealer I use on my face that day. So I just also want to touch on grooming your eyebrows. I'm not going to go into how I groom my eyebrows because honestly, all I do is I go to the salon, I tell my mom to wax my eyebrows, and she waxes them. You need to make sure that you keep up with your eyebrows, because if you don't, it's going to be so much more difficult to fill in your eyebrows. If you have a good person, or if you do it yourself, you just groom your eyebrows, it will look so much better, and honestly you have to do less work. I have my mom do my eyebrows because she's the only person I trust with my eyebrows, and she knows the shape that I want, she knows exactly what I want, and she's also free, so hell yeah. But thank you guys so much for watching, and let's get started to the tutorial. So I'm going to show you guys how I do a more detailed, it takes a longer time eyebrow, and I'm going to be using the Anastasia eyebrow brush in number 12. So the first thing I always do is I always line the bottom of my eyebrow to make sure I know what shape and how I want to fill in the rest of the eyebrow. Once you have filled in the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and line the top so we know where the boundaries are and what we want to color in. So right now we have a good base of where we want everything to be colored in. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the eyebrow brush and go ahead and just start coloring in the lines. To make sure there's a gradient in the front, don't dip in the brush again into the pomade, and all we're going to do is use that excess brow pomade we have on the brush. So for this part of the eyebrow, we use a heavier hand so that we can have a very defined eyebrow. The front here, you want to be very soft. So my number one tip on filling in the front of the eyebrow to make sure it's not like a brick and it's not harsh is to make sure you flip the eyebrow brush so that it is vertical, and slowly and very softly fill in the front. Fill in any empty spots, but make sure you use that very soft hand. As you can see that there's a little bit of an outline here, all I like to do is use my finger and just pat it out so that it looks even more soft. So just keep going in and blending in the very front of the eyebrow using that vertical eyebrow brush method I showed you. So go ahead and just brush out the eyebrows to make sure that the pomade is completely blended throughout it. Just make sure that it's blended out to the perfect amount. If you blend too much, you're going to lose that pomade that we did, but if you blend too little, it's going to look too harsh. If it's not super even, don't worry about it too much because we're going to go in the eyeshadow and it's going to make sure that it's completely even. Next, I'm going to be taking a round concealer brush and we're going to use this to conceal our eyebrows. I use whatever concealer I use on my face and I like to just outline the bottom of it. This is honestly the most important part of your eyebrows. You don't have to fill it in like a genius. You don't have to do that much detailed work, but your concealer will make sure it looks on fleek. And then sometimes it's a little harsh, so I like to tap it with my finger. So we're going to do the exact same thing at the top. Next step is to make sure the outline is defined. We're going to go back with a little bit of pomade on the brush and just kind of draw the outline back at the top here. So once you have perfectly concealed how you've wanted it and went back in with that brush to make sure you define the edges, we're going to set it with an eyebrow powder or an eyeshadow, and we're just going to go over all the pomade areas. And of course the eyeshadow will help make sure that there are no empty spots in your eyebrow. And there you go, that's how you get an on fleek eyebrow. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys the most absolute weirdest way to do your eyebrow. I'm going to go ahead and go back to that pomade and I'm going to be using e.l.f. defining eye brush. I'm going to go ahead and dip that fluffy brush into the pomade and just literally fill in your eyebrows. This brush, the reason why I think it works so well for this is because it creates literally the best gradient in the very front of your eyebrow. And I also find that this eyebrow technique is so easy because you don't have to make sure that it's even or anything because it already makes it even. So the very front, it's so easy to create that gradient because it's a fluffy brush. Flip your brush vertically and just very softly fill in the front of the eyebrow. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to take that concealer and that same concealer brush and you're just going to conceal your brows. This is honestly the most important way to make sure that you have fleeky brows because right now it looks really just messed up right now. So do the same technique. All you gotta do is line the very, very bottom of your eyebrow. Really the most important part is the front here because that is where it was the most fluffy and kind of like blended out. And then of course conceal the rest of your eyebrows. And then of course the end of the eyebrow is also really important because that eyeshadow brush is too big to make a super defined end. So use that concealer again to make sure that the end of your eyebrow looks really good and sharp. And then finally, the last thing you gotta do is set that pomade using that same defining eye brush and that eyeshadow. So that is how I do literally my 1 minute eyebrow. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful in any way. And I want to know how you guys fill in your eyebrows. If these products have worked for you, please let me know. And I think that is all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!